So in this movie, I'm gonna kind of explain a little bit why I decided to make these videos and what my sources are. There's gonna be like an overview and conclusion of all these 94 cards and which ones are worth to mention and so on. So stay tuned. So the reason why I made these videos were because I just kind of missed a very good and up-to-date tier list. And even though I have been going through arena to arena, there will be an overall tier list. So yes, the arena movies might be more geared towards newer players and so on, even though I think experienced player can still learn something from them. But this tier list can be used by everyone. This specifically tier list is very focused on ladder and pretty much ladder only, what works while laddering, and especially what works at legendary arena and higher up, so you can start collecting those cards that you want to use in your main deck at the end game, because it's very important to like collect and use the same cards and don't shove too many cards around, because it takes a lot of money, a lot of cards when you at the end. So you can't, unless you want to spend a lot of money, of course, it's hard to just like shuffle good cards in and out. Okay, so my sources for this video was Stats Royale, where I mostly look at the good thing about Stats Royale is that you can filter the legendary arena only, and then win rate, and then there's a list about how many percentage win rate each card has in the legendary arena. The thing is, it shows a little bit odd percentage wise, where the other website I also use, which is called Royale API, you can't filter legendary arena, but you can filter top 1,000 players, what has high win rate and so on, use rate and so on with that, and ladder as well. But it's more, the thing I like more about Royale API is that it's like, it has 50% or 49 or 59, where the Stats Royale has more like 54% win rate and 23 and so on. But still very, very good websites, very useful. I've been looking at these websites throughout the last couple of months, like since March and February. I know a lot of cards has been changed, but a lot of cards hasn't been changed, so that can give an overall view. But of course, by up to making these videos, I've been the last couple of weeks and each balance patch kind of updating and looking at the stats. But looking at these lists and statistics last couple of months and these last weeks and days, there's always a pattern. There's always almost some cards that's in the top, some cards that are at the very bottom, and then someone in the middle. So the reason why I look so much at statistics is because I want to make this movie so objective as possible. The thing is, I don't want it to be like only my opinion that matters, but I want something to prove it, because by playing this game, you feel like, oh, this card is super strong because your deck sucks against that card. But I could, for example, no, it's not that strong because of my deck is good versus it, and so on. So just trying to make it as objective as possible. Okay, enough with the super boring talk. Let's quickly just look at the tier list. So let's start with the top 3, or at least a potential top 3 cards. The first one I'm gonna talk about is the Lava Hound. The Lava Hound has, through the past couple of months, been one of the highest win rate cards of them all, and the highest win rate legendary pretty much at all times. Therefore, it is a 5. Also, the E-Wiz, or the Electric Wizard, in so many decks, about 37 to 38% uses it, and it has such a high win rate. He is definitely a 5 as well. And also, let's talk about the last top 3 card, the Fisherman. Okay, so ever since the Fisherman got reworked and cost 3 instead of 4, he has been the meta. Therefore, he is super strong and probably will get nerfed And along with the fisherman, or paired together, some of the ones that I have rated average or below average, such as the Sparky or the Hunter, is just such a good matchup with the fisherman. So those two cards in your deck along with the fisherman is super meta and super strong. And there are of course some different variants, but the fisherman, I would be surprised if he wasn't nerfed because he's super strong. And yep, pick him up. Let's move then to the top 3 worst cards, or potential top 3 worst cards. Let's just throw heal out there and just say it's heal, and then I don't have to talk more about that card. Of course, it's a rated 1 card. Also, the Sappies I explained in my other video just seems like that they're not doing very well along with the heal spell. It has one of the lowest win rates of all cards and are constantly always at the bottom. And the third and final top 3 worst cards I'm gonna talk about is the Barbarian Hut. So the Barbarian Hut, it is not good at all. It is actually pretty bad, especially ever since the Barbarians got nerfed. All Barbarian cards, Barbarians, the HP pool got nerfed, but they didn't really buff the building like significantly either. After that, it just got even worse. So I don't know how to fix it, but it is definitely at the bottom of the sucky pile. Yes. Other mention cards that I want to mention and talk about briefly is cards that might or potential is a rated 5 top card. So the first is the epic card Golem. Yes, Golem is super strong at the moment, could maybe be a 5. I rate him as a really high 4 rating card. Super strong, just feels like especially ever since the Pekka nerf and so on, that this Golem card is super strong and is pretty popular as well. Very good, and one of the strongest win conditions in the game. So Golem 4 to 5. Another card that almost made it into a 5 rating is the Tombstone. The Tombstone is just such an amazing defensive card and building, and has often and almost all the time very high win rate. So the Tombstone is a 4 at the moment, but is still a very strong, or close to be very strong card. Also, the Royal Giant I mentioned just briefly, very strong, probably not a 5, but a very strong win condition, and is a common card. And the last I'm gonna talk that is very strong and is close to being a 5 is the Mega Minion. The Mega Minion, is pretty much just a defensive card, because now it only hits buildings 1 time instead of 2, but it's just such a good value card for 3, and it counters so many cards. So the Mega Minion, very good. Okay, then I'm gonna talk about some cards where you might be thinking, why is it there? It should be higher or it should be lower. Okay, first card I'm gonna talk about is the Fireball. Why on earth did I put Fireball as a rating 3 when pretty much everybody else puts it at 4 or 5? Well, as I said, I'm looking at statistics mostly, and of course my own experience, but looking at the statistics throughout the last couple of months, this weeks, and so on, it is just a little bit above average. There seems to be some kind of placebo effect regarding this card in the community, because everybody talks about the Fireball, but it's actually not doing so well as people think it is doing. So it might be placebo, or it might be because there's only 4 big spells, and this is the cheapest of the 4 big spells that are a rare card. So it's nice, yes, it's good. And I also said in my video it might be a 4 I mean, but also as I said in my videos, it might be a 4, but just looking at the statistics, just a little bit above average makes the Fireball a 3 rated card in my opinion. And also by looking at the statistics. Okay, also another card that you might think, what is it doing here, is the giant skeleton. Okay, so the giant skeleton actually through the last couple of months has been doing really poor, but now he's suddenly meta again. The giant skeleton is doing pretty well, and his win rate is about average. So maybe you would think, well, the giant skeleton should be a 1 or a 2, but no, he's meta, he's useful, and actually feels like he's quite balanced. So that was the giant skeleton. Also, let's talk about some cards that, as I said before, you might be questioning what is it doing up there or down there. So there are some certain cards that do really, really, really well in either the lower tiers or the top tiers, the top players, but on the other hand does really bad when you reverse it. So a card that does really good at high level but really poor at lower level, or very good at lower level and really good at higher level. The first card I'm going to talk about is the Elite Barbarians. They do super well in the arena where you get them and in the start of the legendary arena, and has a decent win rate, sometimes high but sometimes low, but actually does super bad the higher you get, and especially at the top and the sub top, they are a terrible useless card. So therefore I rated it as a 2. One of the worst win conditions in my opinion. And some other cards that you're thinking, what are they doing there? Maybe they should be higher, maybe they should be lower. The Ram Rider. The Ram Rider is one of those cards, along with the Magical Archer, that does super well at high level and top players and sub top, but does really poor when they are introduced into the game, the arenas they're doing, and the lower legendary arenas or state, they are doing really poor. So looking at the statistics and saying, okay, they do really well at this level, but not so good at this level, they seem to be as taking the average as some cards that should be rated 3. Another card, though, that also the same thing, does really well at lower levels, on mid levels, and poorly at the top level, is the Wizard, a very popular card though. And that is pretty much the end of my little discussion. And I think that's enough for it. You can watch my other videos if you want a longer or briefer, or more in detailed explanation why they are placed where they are at. But also remember statistics, and a little bit of my own opinion. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that this will create a lot of discussions and debate, and I hope for a lot of response. It's always fun to share and look at other people's tier list. So I hope that it helps you, both as a new player and experienced player, to give you a little bit more knowledge about which cards are good, which cards are meta, and which you should avoid. So good luck to everyone out there, and I hope I'll see you in the arena, or you are willing to watch some of my other great videos. See ya. Enough said. I think I talked too much. Now it's Clash Royale time. But one important question here at the end to you. Are you a swiper or are you a clicker? See ya.